In May 1963, 32 leaders congregate in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, at the invitation of Emperor Haile Selassie. And I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to take time this evening or hereafter to read the speeches that were delivered by each one of them. And I've read each one of them several times. Even the ones who later disappointed us, the Spirit was on them. And I will only isolate a few of them in order for us to appreciate how far they could see. As I stand here, I remember the speech of David Dacko of Central African Republic. He says that Africa must unite and move in one direction, for how would a little country such as Central African Republic survive in the face of the sustained machinations of the erstwhile colonial power? We know that David Dacko did not live up to the dreams that we thought he would. I listened to speeches such as those of Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania. He said, we did not come here to talk about unity or to remind ourselves how unity is important. We have come here to affirm the fact that without unity, Africa is never going to realize their potential. And one can go on to the speeches of Modibo and others and Haile Selassie and others, but it's not important to rehash those speeches because they can be located in libraries. But it's important to isolate one speech, the speech of Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, because that, for those of you who are French speakers, that was the pièce de résistance. It was the speech that, in my view, captured the essence of what was meant to be Africa. And the three things that stand out in the speech and therefore form the three-legged stool upon which my presentation will now be founded. He said that Africa must unite, and unite immediately, before the leaders who are present in that forum become used to the trappings of power. You and me know that they have now become victims of the trappings. He said that we must unite and come out of that arrangement with one army, with one currency, with one united country, because the former colonial powers had yet devised another method of controlling African. And he said that that thing which we later examined and recognized as neocolonialism was alive and well. And he said, if we did not do so, Africa will never realize our potential. That is the Africa about which you want me to reminisce in order for me to determine what was the vision of the founding fathers. Their vision was a united Africa. Their vision was an Africa that was united in our diversity. Their vision was an Africa that would tell her story. Their vision was an Africa that would exploit our resources for our benefit. Their vision was an Africa that would sit at the dinner table of human civilization, not as food to be consumed or as a waiter, but as a diner to enjoy the goodies of life. That was their vision. But the question is, that vision that saw Africa liberate herself from the clutches of colonialism, was it merely flag independence, as Kenya's Ngugi wa Thiong'o says, not in so many words, in his book Decolonizing the Mind? Was it a total liberation of the peoples of Africa? In his famous television program, Kenya's Ali Mazrui, the program titled Africa, A Triple Heritage, Ali Mazrui says passionately and eloquently at once that Africa is the only continent on earth that consumes that which it does not produce and produces that which it does not consume. And he says, curiously, we are the only continent on earth that is still referred to in the following derogatory terms: Anglophone Africa, Francophone Africa, Lusophone Africa, and those who are generous even refer to some part of Africa as Arabophone Africa. He says they do not say that of Latin America, they do not say that of Asia. And if you doubt Ali Mazrui, there is now a war that is going on in the Cameroons and is characterized as a war between the Francophones and the Anglophones. But if you go to the so-called Anglophone area, no more than 5% can speak eloquent French. Yet there are many ethnicities in that part of the world. And I'm submitting to us that this is important because it demonstrates that there is something in our minds that we have yet to liberate ourselves. We have yet to decolonize our mind, which Ngugi wa Thiong'o says is the prerequisite to our total liberation so that we can engage with the world meaningfully. You know, as I speak to you now, there are 54 recognized independent African countries, particularly if you talk to the Moroccans. But when you liberate yourself from Morocco, there are 55 because of Sahrawi. But I'll be of good manners. I'll say there are 54 recognized and 55 with one unrecognized. That Africa is an Africa that ought to be governed by the vision of the founding fathers. That vision was articulated in the Charter of the Organization of African Unity. One can say that the Charter of the Organization of African Unity did form the foundation stone upon which we liberated all countries, and that these countries were liberated up until 1994 or 1990 with the death of apartheid regime. The question is that vision alive? The question is that vision relevant today, particularly when we talk about freedom and good governance? The question is that vision alive for those of us who are spiritually and religiously inclined? The question is that vision alive? Can it be predicated in the Bible? This good governance that we keep on talking about, what is it?